Welcome in, folks, to another great episode of I've Got a Theory. I'm your host, Henish, joined by Travis Piet, who is the
Nice to meet
founder of
you.
Eat Loom, and it's a new health food company here based out of San Diego, but about to get big, I'm assuming. So it seems like you're on your way to having a really formative health food lifestyle company. So, Travis,
Yeah.
welcome onto the show. Thanks for joining me. Tell me a little
Yeah,
bit about
thank you.
yourself. Tell me about your theory. What do you got?
Yeah, definitely. So been surrounded in the health and wellness space since I was a young kid, about 10 years old. My whole family really got into it, and I'll get a little bit more into that as we chat. Overall theory that I have, and I think this is really aligned with, current state that we're living in society with preventing disease and just overall trying to stay healthy, is that improving your diet will drastically improve your quality of life, not only in the short term, but especially in the long term, over the years as we get older. And so, yeah.
You're preaching to the choir there. I'm doing my best to be as healthy as possible. But man, the adage that you are what you eat is so true, and everyone knows it, and so many people ignore it.
Yep. Well, I think it doesn't resonate with, if you're just eating a meal, you're kind of just eating a meal, but you're not actually looking into the fact that, hey, this is actually going to have an effect, either positive or negative, on my life, both right now, how I feel 15 minutes after I eat this food, and then eating this type of food years over years over years, and how that'll play an effect of, my quality of life as I age. So it's an interesting topic.
Yeah, it is an interesting topic, especially in the United States, where we seem to have such a bad relationship with food, right?
Mhm.
I mean, and it's known that Americans eat fast food, and we love our burgers and our steaks and our fat and our milk and beer and lots of beef
Yep.
and that's a tough diet to sustain, one, long term. Two, if you don't want to get heart disease and obesity and all these other things that come along with it. And it's not a theory that eating bad causes you to have health effects. That's a fact.
Right. 100%.
Yeah, that doesn't belong on this show. Like, if you eat like crap, you're gonna be sick.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then you're like the miracle child, because the vast majority of people are, and so that's a big thing that's going on now, is that people don't seem to talk about health when it comes to nutrition as much. They want
Right.
help when it comes to, what pill can I take? Can you poke me with something that'll make me healthy?
Exactly.
And it's the quick fix, and they're not thinking about it. So it was
Yep.
interesting. Yesterday I was at a restaurant, and they were really pushing the burgers, and they're like, the burgers are really good here. I'm like, okay, cool, I get it, but I eat everything, but I've been trying to cut back quite substantially on red meat. So I was like,
Yeah.
I'll take that XYZ burger, but let me just do the plant-based patty instead of the red beef.
The impossible burger.
Impossible or something like that. It was the Impossible yesterday, and it was fine. Like, is it as tasty as a beef burger? Probably not, but am I happier that I ate it because I don't have a half pound of beef bricking in my stomach all afternoon?
Exactly.
And then who knows the consequence? And then you hear all these stories about colon cancer, digestive tract issues, high blood pressures, cholesterol, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, so you're preaching to the choir. I really have worked this past year on shifting my diet. I've known it for years, and then things like COVID hit, and then you lose track of it again. You're like, oh, the world's ending anyway, so who cares? But then you realize the world isn't ending. You're like, wait, I do care again. And so then you're back on it. So tell me more about your theory. Tell me more about why you got into it, and your family background, and how you're making a change.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, at the core, if you don't have your health, you have nothing. And it's really a fundamental concept. If you're you're unhealthy, you're stuck in the hospital, you have a poor quality of life. I mean, that is no quality of life to begin with. And so, before you can do anything, meaningful on this earth, you got to take care of your health. You got to be in a good position to do so. And so, to kind of give a little backtrack, grew up in a big Italian family from the East Coast, always surrounded by food and that connection to family. And we ate a lot, especially growing up. Not necessarily the best food, really fatty, a lot of fried foods. And when I was about 10 years old, my mom, it had really started to affect her. And this is over, 20, 30 years of eating like this. And she was suffering from multiple different health ailments, went the traditional route of taking a lot of pills, traditional doctor visits every, 3, 4 times a week. Did that for a few years, didn't have much luck, couldn't really get to the bottom of it. And at the time, ironically, my dad was in the music industry, was around a lot of kind of progressive people in the health and wellness space. This is 15 plus years ago, when flaxseed and chia seeds were unheard of. Now it's, an everyday thing. And so he really took it upon the family to try a, more holistic dieting and lifestyle approach. And so at that time, I was about 10 years old. We completely switched our diet around, cut out all artificial flavors, colorings, all that kind of stuff, all the junk food, bought as much organic produce, grass-fed beef as we possibly could. Started taking vitamins, supplements, working out, meditation, reducing the amount of topical product or synthetic topical products. That was actually a big thing too. It's, when you're from brushing your teeth to putting, cream on your face or face wash before you go to bed, you don't realize how many cancer causing ingredients are in these different topical products. And so really just started cutting that out. And my mom's health greatly improved over the course of the following 2, 3 years. And that really kind of lit this spark and fire in me to, as I got older, develop and create a brand that really involves all these values that I grew up with in the health and wellness space.
That's incredible. So the
but
hardest
again,
thing is breaking that bad habit. Like, so how did your parents break years of programmed in what they ate historically as a family and said, we're going to make a shift one day?
Yep.
Was it overnight, or did it take some time to kind of adjust to it? And then you as a kid also, I know I have kids that are younger, not 10 yet, but they're very hard to get to switch from thinking with their mind about what they're eating instead of thinking with their tongue.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, no, it wasn't an overnight. And I mean, some people might say that like, oh, one day just completely switched everything. It was definitely more gradual. And, as you start that process, you get to become more knowledgeable on each individual little subject, on different types of foods and whatnot. So you're able to refine that as time goes on. But it was, definitely a multi-year process. One of the first things that we started doing was juicing, which, we all do. My dad, every single morning, that's the first thing, wakes up and juices. Really started with that, and, bought a bunch of healthy cookbooks, and just over time started making that transition. Working out, again, a huge part of that. Again, you don't have to make that drastic shift overnight, but start with 1 day a week, 2 days a week, 3 days a week, keep ramping up. Start with having a healthier breakfast and keep working at it. So yeah, definitely not an overnight type thing, but once we started seeing the positive effects, it was definitely an eye opener and sped up that.
So tell me about your company and your brand and how you're helping people do this. So tell me about your mission with Eat Loom and what you're doing, what you're providing, and how does this move the needle?
Yeah, totally. So really created this to help people feel good and snack well, really associate that positive connection with ourselves and food. So the brand, everything from the nutritional components to the aesthetic, it's designed to help you feel good, associate healthy eating with feeling good at its core. And so we took a traditional granola snack that people know and love. I grew up eating it when I was younger, and started infusing them with different vitamins and herbs and supplements, almost like a 2-in-1 snack and supplement. So you're able to get the nutrients that you would typically have to take a supplement for, right within a delicious, healthy snack. So kind of a 2-in-1 combo. And I used to find myself, and still do, taking all these supplements and vitamins on a daily basis. So wanted to take that and just make it easy for people to get those nutrients in their diet. And a lot of these things, they're hard to get directly from food alone. A lot of times you have to eat a ton of it in order to get the same amount of dosage. And so again, just making it really easy for people to fit this into their routine.
So the granola is kind of the staple food that you're starting with right now. So it's kind of like wake up, throw some yogurt in your bowl, top it off with some granola, and you're off to the good
Exactly.
stuff.
Exactly.
So Travis, let me ask this question: what did you eat today? It's about 3 o'clock. What's been in your diet today?
Yeah. So typically when I wake up, I have Organifi. It's a green juice powder. I started taking them a few months ago. I will juice
That's not
sometimes.
something that's not proprietary. That's someone else's company.
It is, yeah. It's a green
Okay.
juice. It's a powder. They're actually based
Okay.
out of San Diego.
Oh, great.
Um, so woke up, had my Organifi green juice, mix that, put a little fresh squeezed lemon in it. Lemon is awesome. It's a great detoxifier, especially in the morning. You want to wake up, kind of cleanse your system. I typically always have 2 big glasses of water, like brush my teeth and then 2 big glasses of water immediately. And then I get this really good cashew based yogurt at Sprouts. I'll top it with Loom, usually the fit granola. It's got that yerba mate in it. So great kind of energy kick right away. I take my initial supplements, my zinc, vitamin C, vitamin D, and then recently started taking cordyceps. It's a kind of mushroom extract, great for great immune booster. And then for lunch, a couple organic eggs, some toast, avocado, and I'll snack kind of throughout the day on nuts sometimes or a protein bar. Haven't had dinner yet, so still have to see what I'm having for that, but that's kind of my
That's a pretty
daily.
good start for the day. So that so if you could follow a meal like that, so you're not starting off with 4 strips of bacon, a 3 egg omelet,
Yeah,
and a bunch of French toast.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a tough breakfast to break. It's interesting when people see me eat out, like I mentioned yesterday with an Impossible Burger. They're like, well, I don't get it. You eat meat, but you wanted an Impossible Burger. I'm like, well, I'm just trying to cut back on it.
Right.
One, it's a humongous amount of calories. Two, there's always like this evidence that charred meat can cause colon cancer and stuff like that. So,
Oh yeah.
and it's, so it's really concerning. So it's like, well, let me just cut back on it. One, and there's also the environmental reasons that raising meat is kind of onerous for the planet, right? In terms of farming it and growing it, the water requirements, et cetera. So my wife has gone full vegan over the last several months, and we've
Nice.
dabbled with it in the past. And I'm finding it less hard the smarter that I'm getting, the older that I'm getting. That hey, let me
Right.
just think through what I'm eating
Hmm.
instead of letting my mouth or tongue or my appetite tell me that I need to go get a California burrito.
Right. And I think too, it's really, I think we're living in an interesting time because backtrack even five to 10 years ago, a lot of the healthier options that you can find in a store traditionally, they didn't taste as good as the artificial stuff. But I feel like especially the past couple of years we've seen this huge shift in that no, this stuff actually tastes just as good and in my opinion better than the artificial junk. And so I think a lot of people still have that in their head that, oh, they make that association. If it's healthy, it tastes bad. And
Yeah,
that might have been the case, but a while back, but it's just not, it just simply is not the case anymore.
yeah,
Um,
I agree with you on that. Healthy food has gotten a lot better.
yeah,
For sure. And so,
definitely.
Sprouts and Whole Foods and these places like that are a prime example of it. Um, it's tough to make this change. So, the 800-pound gorilla in the world right now is COVID. And this morning I flipped on the news and I'm always trying to watch the Olympic stats and see what happened. That was exciting
Right.
overnight. But then I'll flip to a news channel like, oh, COVID's popping up in children, right? And I'm like, oh, that's a bummer. Like I know there's variants, diseases change, and things can happen.
Right.
And they show a 16-year-old who's basically almost a grown man, and he's lying on a bed in a hospital, and he's gigantic. He's probably 400 pounds. So it's
Mhm.
like this isn't like a regular healthy 16-year-old. This is an obese 16-year-old that
Yeah.
has bad side effects from COVID. And that's one thing that I've seen totally missing from the media on COVID is they're saying, wear a mask and get the vaccine and you're good. But the bigger message should be, hey, this should be a wake-up call for your overall lifestyle routines of diet and exercise as well. But that doesn't seem to be anywhere in the messaging. What do you think of that?
No, I agree. I think it's completely ignored. Like you're saying, it's always, and whatever your stance is on vaccines, but it's always, push the quick fix, push the drug, push the pill, push whatever, without addressing the fundamental like root core or cause of how you could help prevent this. Not to say that those things can't always help, but I agree. I mean, it's, especially working out, having that healthy diet, it's so important. Taking your supplements, taking vitamin D, zinc. There's this statistic, I think it was over 70%, and it might have been closer to 90, so don't quote me on this. But if COVID positive patients were deficient in vitamin D, we've seen a huge connection, or vitamin D deficiency, we've seen a big connection in that of COVID-19 positive patients. And
so like citrus and stuff like that, typically, right?
Yeah, I mean, and all this stuff is, it's simple things that you can do. But it's definitely, it's not talked about. And
I don't know why they didn't mention like, oh, it's not children. It's like an obese child that's almost an adult that has these side effects. And they don't mention that. So one of the other statistics they were talking about was with the Olympics, the vaccine hesitancy of athletes, and they're saying that 80% of athletes have gotten it done, but 20% haven't. And then they shared the number of people in Japan that have taken the vaccine. In Japan, I get the impression, I haven't done the stats, that they're a healthier country overall, right? You see them pounding through Tokyo in the streets and they're all slim and they're fit and they're eating their sushis and their noodles, and they're not pounding hamburgers and pizzas. So, and you always hear about these blue zones that they have in Japan, which are places where people live to like 110 plus years old, and there's huge amounts of that. Guess what percentage of people in Japan take the vaccine?
How much?
It's less than 30%.
Wow.
And then they'll say, oh, there's a huge spike in COVID cases. Yeah, people get sick, but what I really care about are people dying from this. Are they stressing the healthcare systems? Are they causing, severe side effects that are irreversible? Or is it just a flu that they get over and it's no big deal because their underlying health cases are that they're overall pretty healthy, right? They're not in a super polluted place like India, right? My family's ethnically from India, and COVID is ravaging India, but everywhere in India is polluted, and you've already got a compromised lung system, right? And
immune systems,
yeah. And so and then in states that have high obesity rates, you see higher serious side effects from COVID, and it's not a surprise because they're unhealthy to begin with. And any disease, whether it's COVID or pneumonia or anything, would affect someone that's unhealthy more than someone that's healthy. Isn't that true?
Yeah, no, 100%. And there's always the exception of some people, some things are hereditary if they have their immune systems are compromised, but those are very few cases.
Those
when
are
you
outliers.
Look at overall, those are outliers, exactly.
So and it's tough because like if you go see your regular primary care physician at your doctor and you say, hey, I've got XYZ problem, they're always like quickly scrambling to figure out what they can prescribe for you, which seems like an odd solution instead of, hey, let's review your diet. What did you eat today? What did you eat this week? They never say that.
Well, that's the thing. Most of them aren't trained in that field. They're trained to figure out what is the best drug to fix your issue, even though that's just a band-aid. It's not getting to the root cause of your issue. But I mean, as you were saying before, getting to that root cause and putting in the time and the effort to figure it out and then stick to a routine that's actually going to, help reverse that, that's hard. It takes time. A lot of people just want that quick fix. And so they go for the pill or the drug that they think is going to cure them without looking A, at the side effects, or B, knowing the side effects. Like you hear on TV, you hear all these drug companies may cause lung damage, kidney failure, all this type of stuff. And it just goes over people's heads.
Yeah.
It's fascinating, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, and it partially comes from the high demand on doctors to score highly on patient surveys, right? And this is what literally kicked off the opiate crisis, right?
Mhm.
Doctor, I'm in pain. And the doctor says, well, yeah, we can solve this. You got to go to physical therapy, or you got to change your diet, or you got to exercise. And they said, no, just give me a pill. And because the doctors that did that scored higher on patient satisfaction surveys than the
Yeah.
ones that made them work hard or change their lifestyle or change their behavior, the patients would complain at a higher rate saying, my doctor didn't solve my problem with a
Yeah.
pill, right? And so now all of a sudden we've got this opiate crisis, which has killed hundreds of thousands of people and, trickles into heroin and other use. And you got this is the real epidemic, I would think, that's happened from, these quick fixes that have happened. But it's also because of how we measure the success of our healthcare providers in
Mhm.
terms of patient satisfaction, as opposed to, are people getting healthier because they saw you?
Yeah. No, totally. Yeah, totally. And it like, I mean, there's so many different factors at play. I think it helps to understand the systems and how they work to get a better grasp. Like, for instance, if a natural vitamin or herb is it's proven to help reduce effects of XYZ, pharmaceutical companies can't patent a naturally occurring ingredient or vitamin. And
Right.
so even if that is the case, they're incentivized to create an artificial version of that to help do the same thing.
Yeah.
Most of it, a lot of it comes down to money. They can't, again,
Always.
they can't patent those. And so it's a lot of times the solutions are right in front of your face, but you're convinced otherwise by your doctor. Not to say all doctors are bad, but by either your doctor or mainstream media that this is the only fix, and then they make you feel um you know incompetent or almost stupid for believing something different.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Yeah, it is. And it's going to take a system-wide change, because I think that you're exactly right. I mean, we have the most expensive healthcare system in the world because we don't try to solve problems; we try to patch them,
Yeah.
right? And then the
Oh, and you
patch,
try to make money off of them.
yeah, and then you got to make money off of it, right? And so, there's ideas that there's other things that can help prevent or reduce the effects of COVID that are natural, but those are being waylaid to the side because, yeah, if you can't sell them and charge your insurance company $100+ per dose or whatever it's going to be, then
Yeah.
it's not worth doing. So you get this corporate issue that pushes their agenda over and above, and maybe that's part of the reason that they don't want people to have a healthier diet, right? I mean, there's simple things like,
Yeah.
hey, don't subsidize red meat to a factor of 4 to 1, right?
Yeah,
$2
100%.
burger should probably cost $8, but our government subsidizes the cow industry, that the cattle industry, and meats and stuff, because it's an important industry. I get it, but now it makes vegetables relatively more expensive.
Yeah.
So if you're on a budget, you're like, well, yeah, I could get some broccoli and Brussels sprouts and carrots, but a pound of beef is cheaper,
Yep.
and it's tough. And I'm,
Yeah.
and I'm not trying to say don't eat beef, but it's just like, it shouldn't be every meal, every part of your diet, and half of your calories or more every day, which for a lot of people it is. I know a lot of people like, I got to have meat at every meal, otherwise I'm going to be hungry. That
Yeah.
might not be safe.
Yeah, both of my grandparents died of stomach cancer.
Wow.
They ate red meat literally
Yeah.
every day, red meat, red meat, red meat. And again, it's those type of things that affects you as you get older. Is
It's
it's not
cumulative.
to
It's
say that
cumulative over a lifetime.
exactly. Yeah, and
Cumulative over
that's
a
with
lifetime.
anything.
Yeah, and so no, I appreciate you having a brand that's focused on the health. So, what are next steps for you? How do we take this from, yeah, have some of my granola that's fortified and modified to have some extra nutrients in it, to you mentioned that it's kind of a lifestyle brand, which is important. This lifestyle
Sure.
brands are a relevant uh, topic in the world today, because people want to see their influencers doing something and happy, but also they're healthy and they're eating the right stuff and they're not taking
Right.
pills. And that is a good impact. I would agree that
Yeah.
is a good way to get your messaging across. that, hey, you can do this naturally and you can do this health in a healthy way without putting weird chemicals in your body.
Yeah, no, totally. I think content is going to be key in this. I definitely want to ramp up our content with more articles on conversations like these that are difficult to find anywhere else, or especially just on your traditional snack brand. And then from a product standpoint, really, I mean, the vision is to create this full encompassing wellness brand. So offering these fortified products that you know, complement your wellness routine from the moment you wake up, get out of bed, to mid-afternoon till you go to sleep. And offering products with these functional health benefits that aid you throughout your day. And so we'll be coming out with line of bars pretty soon, actually. And then looking to expand. And like you said, I always like to say, we're a wellness brand, because that is the vision, to branch out to different types of products with these core fundamental health benefits in place. But yeah, so definitely have some.
Okay, so your name is the company name is LUME. So what's that? What's that mean? What's that stand for?
Short for luminescence. So really designed to help you just feel good when you hear it. Even coming down to our branding and the colors that we use, really it's designed to, when you see this in person and then obviously eating it, you just feel good.
Yeah, that's excellent. So no, I really appreciate your message. And so we could get your products. You said it at a few different places, right? You got them at Fifth Athletic Clubs. You're starting to get some distributorship in and outside of San Diego as well. Tell me a little bit more about where people can get your stuff. Is it just online? What can we do?
Yeah, so we're also in all Air One stores up in LA. And then quickest thing is our website. So eatloom.co. You can use the discount code FAM20, FAM20, for 20% off. We ship within 2 business days, really fast shipping. They come in 9 packs, so you could stock up. And then you could also find us on Amazon. Just type in Loom granola, and we should pop right up.
Oh, wow. That's great. Travis, I appreciate having you on. We need to keep shouting this message from the rooftops. I hate seeing unhealthy people be relegated to taking pills and then having to take more pills from it, and
Yep.
then wondering why they're still unhealthy, because it's not a good fix. And if you can
Yeah.
just really think about, you are what you eat.
Yeah.
It's so relevant. And so
Yeah.
I'm fixing a lifetime of bad diet as well, where I've kind of dabbled along good diet along the way, but making that commitment to be like, all right, let me do this 99% of the time, or 98%
Right.
of the time, whatever it is.
Exactly.
And I've noticed, I'm feeling healthier than I've ever been. I'm stronger than I've ever been. And
It's
it's
great.
because I'm fortunate to have these conversations on my show with smart people. And so they are slowly starting to reprogram my brain 25 minutes at a time, and it's working. So
Yeah.
having talks with people like you that are influential and are living healthy lifestyles and can spread the word, it's so important. So thank you for being on my show and joining me for this, sharing your message.
I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much, man. No, it was great talking with you, and always great talking with like-minded people. So
Sure.
happy to be here. Yeah.
Travis, we'll have to connect again in person sometime soon, since we're in the same area.
Let's do it.
Appreciate everyone listening in on another great episode of I've Got a Theory. Catch you on the next show.
Later, guys. Thanks.